Hi everybody, just want to say thank you for watching these videos as we get Northern Comfort ready for cruising. In this episode we find a home for our canoe paddle and the emergency steering, and we spent some time installing some solar panels, and we added another 4 panels now that we've got the arch installed, and we spent some time hooking up the batteries, getting the electrical all hooked up so that we can generate our own power and be off-grid. Enjoy this episode. All that's drying, just taking a break. I put these things up yesterday, and this is basically to hold up my bar. That was the intention, so just gotta take these things off here now, and then I'm gonna put another layer of epoxy on, but I just want to fit it, just make sure it works before I stick a layer of fiberglass cloth on top, and then that'll definitely make that strong. That won't be going anywhere. I just want. Okay, that's one. I just wanted a permanent place for them. Okay, so this is what I was thinking. I got these, they're called wraps. Wrap it. And I saw that and I thought, hey, there's a neat idea. So I don't know if it'll work or not, so I'm going to save the packages. But essentially, hang that on there. I don't know if that'll be a bad idea, if it'll be moving around. Maybe it'll be moving around too much, I don't know. It's fairly heavy. And then it's basically this little Velcro, it's a pretty hefty Velcro strap. The whole thing is Velcro. So that'll go around the bar now. So just I don't know, what do you guys think? I don't know, I'll listen to it. If I hear it moving around too much, then I'll just go with a bigger hook, something that this can sit in. But I thought that would fit like that, and then I'm going to slip the other hook underneath here, and another one that might order will be down here. So I'll have both kind of on the side. These are my new panels that came in from Renogy. They're the same style as the existing ones I had. Exact same size, shape, everything. 100-watt panels. And what I'm doing is I'm putting 2 of them together and then putting a little bead of silicone in the middle. But what I'm doing to connect them is I'm drilling a hole with my hole bit. So I made a little jig to get me my exact distance on each panel, and I'm just using the hole saw here, the hole bit, to go through. Alright, so now I've got my holes that'll match. Those will go together, and you can see my connectors are all at the same end. So that's a pair, and I've got another pair to do, and I'm doing them in pairs. The back I did like a 1 full set of 4, which required more bolts and things. But because my backstay actually comes right through here in the middle, I'm going to separate the panels. So last year I had my backstay going between the panels, and actually in this year as well. But I had the panels together, and I left just a little gap. And this backstay was essentially sandwiched in there, and the theory was the backstay is not going to move left or right, so it offered some horizontal support to the panels because they were just on those, the really thin 7/8 bimini that's attached with a couple of endpoints here. So you know, I went through every storm. We had a tornado, yeah, and the panel survived. So I was glad for that, but it wasn't as, you know, solid as what I've got now. The solar arch makes a huge difference now. So what I'm going to do this year is, because I'm adding 4 more panels, I'm going to put 2 and 2 groups on the front, and the backstay will go in between. But I'm going to leave, like, you know, maybe 2 inches on either side of it, just so that there is the backstay then isn't touching anything, because I didn't want to cause any damage to the backstay, you know, by accident, or you know, through any rubbing or chafing or anything. So so I think this is better. So I'm just going to put 2 groups of 2 together, whereas in the back I put all 4 together, and I put a bead of silicone in between the panels in the back so that water wouldn't come through. When I get my swim panel built for the back, my swim platform built for the back, I'm going to, my thinking was just there'd be a water cover just in case on top, so water didn't go through. It wasn't actually for any adhesion or anything, but I'm going to do the same here in the front as well for these 2 panels. It's looking good. Hi everybody, so today the plan is to get the main electricals hooked up, and I'm hoping that by the end of this I'll be able to test the motor. I think I should be able to. I probably need about 4 hours, I think, to finish that. It's pretty cold. It was negative last night, plus they're saying it's +7. Right now, like I said, it's cold. I think it's +2 right now. Celsius, so I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's cold. Well, I guess 0 is 30, isn't it? There's 32 or something, so like maybe it's 40 right now, so yeah, it's pretty cold. So I finished fiberglassing here. This turned out good, and I don't really need, wasn't planning on doing any finishing up on that part of it, so what I want to do is get my my board that I have here to come down, because that's the end point of the inside, and then I've got basically to put a piece of plywood up back up on the wall inside the electrical compartment, and then that's where all of my my other pieces are going to go. So basically all in here, my DC-DC converter, my shunt, all of that kind of stuff. So that's the plan for today, and we'll see how it goes. Putting this in first because I just want to get my measurements right. Okay, here's my battery box. Oh yeah, lots of room. This goes somewhere here, like that, roughly. I'll screw that in as soon as I get this front one down, so that I can have it flush. So these temporary permanent things up here. There's only 4 screws, so I'm doing it without the hand drill. Talk about awkward. Thank goodness I just got to do this once. I got a foam pad down by my knee. So basically I'm getting this wood up here, and now that this is nice and firm, it goes against that and up here as high as I can. I probably should have just clamped that. I could have clamped that right there. Oh, more things I should have done. Should have, would have, could have. I don't know if you can see me or not. I'm just going to go look for one more screw before I start putting the batteries in, and then I just want to tap the sides in. So I'm going to go look for my I had a couple long screws here. Yeah, it looks like I tapped it right into the wood down there too for this one. Just so this doesn't move around. But I think the box is going to be pretty tight. So after I screw it down, it'll be even better. Just going to anchor this down. Put a couple on the other side. So these are my terminal blocks, and they basically have 4 studs in them that are the same as my battery studs, M8. I'm going to be putting my positive and negative 2, and then this is actually where my all of my connection points will go. So solar charging, the motor, all that kind of thing, and then the shunt is going to go between the negative and the batteries. So the negative goes to the shunt goes into here, and then the shunt basically measures everything. So basically the motor will go into here. So the bus is basically where you hook things up and you branch off, and these are pretty heavy duty and they're sealed. You just pop these little top pieces off to get your cable in like what direction you want to go. That way there's a minimal exposure of, you know, accidentally touching things together. Are going to go on this board. These will all be connected up in series, and then this will be my negative and my positive points. Run a cable up over into the shunt and everything else that I'm kind of pulling off of this panel. This way I can get to it if I'm in a rush or an emergency. I can just disconnect something if I have to, but I'll have fuses, so just getting these wires up to the battery. So this is the this will be the positive. Last wire, it's going to bring in the negative to the battery terminal. Well, she's looking good. So this is battery. And then this is solar. And hopefully I got my amps right. I think I did, but now I'm going to go finish up my battery terminals, and I'll be ready to start getting this thing turned on. Quick account here of how this works. So incoming power comes here, and then the red is fused into here, into the PV side. And so I've got red as the plus, and that's the plus going out to the panel. And then I've got plus and the plus going out to the battery on the plus side. And then the 2 negatives feed right in there. So the negatives don't have any breakers. The breakers are all on the positive side. So right now, even though I've got it all connected, this is still separate here. So there's no incoming power coming into the MPPT controller. And then when you turn this on, you want to turn on the battery first so it has power. And then when you turn on the solar, it will kick the solar in. So I'm going to use a heater. Actually, I'm going to bend the prongs on the plug, and I'm going to touch this briefly and then flip the breaker on. That's basically just to help slow the rate of flow in from the battery to this system, so I don't actually blow the fuse. When you first put power onto something, so there's usually a voltage spike and then it equals out, and it's just because of the surge when you first turn it on. So I'm going to touch these two poles together, and the negative will be on the battery, so then I'll complete the circuit. And so I'm just basically going to touch and then trip the breaker, and when I do that, it's so fast that the capacitors will be fully charged. When I flip the breaker, there won't be any internal arcing here. So I'm going to get my Bluetooth and plug that in here before I turn it on, and then just to be able to see what it's doing. Actually, I ended up having to use the old hammer trick. It did seem to work fine, actually, to make the ends, so they come out pretty good. This is a 3/4 inch size, and it should shrink down to half. And I'm just cutting it about 1.5 inches long to cover the whole jacket all the way up to the point here. And that's it. Got my ends done. Easy. Okay, this first one is going to go on the battery. I really don't want to over tighten these, so I'm just using my hand. Hello. Put these last few ones on here. After this, my negative terminal is actually on. But these are hooked up now, so now I'm ready to hook up turn on the solar charging and start charging this battery. So I'm getting ready to turn this thing on here. First I'm going to check the power. So we'll see how we're doing off of those batteries. So I want to go to this side and this side, and I'm showing 52 volts. So yeah, we're doing all right. 52.6 volts. I don't have any of the breakers on, so we're not powered up yet. So there should be none on this side, and it's showing 0. So we're all good. Okay, so what I'm going to do to charge this, so I'm going to touch the two terminals together, and then that'll get the power flowing. On the other end of this is my heater. This little mini heater was on the other end of that cord. So it's going to basically push the voltage through the coil first. It basically acts like a big resistor, so hopefully I won't hear any arcing in here. And then I'm going to just go and hit this circuit breaker on in less than half a second. So touch, turn on. So there we go. And I see I've got a light, so it's hopefully doing something. And I didn't get any arc, so that worked perfect. Basically, I didn't get any arcing into the system at all. So now we're going to see if I can pick this up. Northern Comfort Solar. .7 volts on the batteries. That's awesome. So now I'm going to program this to be lithium instead of lead acid. So underneath battery, rotary switch, and I'm not going to put it in expert mode. I'm just going to try to find select preset, lithium, LiFo. There we go. Okay. And it basically ups up the voltage, and I've got max current 10 amps. I don't know what this can do now, but it's mainly up to my panel, so I'm going to put 20 amps. And now when I turn on the solar panels, I will see some voltage coming in here. So my only concern is I do have probably 80 volts coming in on those panels right now. So on the negative of the panel and the positive. So I don't know if I need to do the same thing with this. Yeah, 84 volts. So I should see some voltage, but I think this will be all right. There we go. Solar is 84 volts. So the difference for it, the difference in the system, basically, is that, or why I had to jumper it. The capacitors. This has been off for months, so there's like no voltage in the capacitors at all, and the voltage in the on the solar side goes through the system. So they say turn on the battery first, and I believe that's so that the capacitors can take the charge, the variance in the voltage. And yeah, you can see it's pretty overcast day out there. That's what it's like. It's plus, I don't know. So right now it's plus 5 Celsius. I'm only getting 120 watts. It's April, but it's actually charging my batteries, if you can believe that. And my voltage now on the batteries is 52.95 volts. So if you think about it, so I should get about 80 amps out of these 100 amps, because they say about 80% is what you can actually drain. So I'm actually pretty close to the equivalent of what I had in the lead acid. However, the lead acid voltage drops continuously as you deplete them. So there's a point where the voltage is getting quite low, like in the 40s. So the way that these should behave is that my voltage should stay relatively the same or consistent, and then start to peter off. But it's just slight variances. So they were saying that, for example, when they shipped these ampere time batteries, they were 13.1 volts each, which stands for a 40% charge. So that's why they're saying you need to charge these things before you use them in any real capacity, because I can only really draw them down another 20%. So they have barely any life in them. So if you think about the 20 amp hour is where I am, out of, well, 40, but 80. So I have to put 60 amp hours worth of time charging into them. And so I have 2 amps going in right now. So I need to do 60 amp hours divided by 2. It's going to take 30 amp hours at this rate to charge. I'm only getting 118 watts out of these panels here right now, so I'm sure we'll see it cycle up and down. Given the circumstances, you know, the voltage here is pretty good. So you can see here I'm getting 2 amps, 2.2 amps in. I have no idea what my peak is, but I would say that with 100 watts, I would have been lucky to get an amp before. 71 volts. Like, I have very, very little, so with the extra panels, that's probably what's making up the difference. Again, my day's pretty overcast here. I don't have much. The sun's already at 4 o'clock, so it sets at 7. I'm 3 hours from sunset. So I'm getting close. I'm 8 days away from launch. And I've got a major step forward here. So got my batteries in. They're all strapped in tight. I got my first circuit in. So now I'm going to hook up the motor and get the I'm going to do a motor test.